Hi there, this is Dawn, and welcome to my art room and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. It's nice to have you be here and part of what I'm doing. This is prompt 16. Prompt 16. Gosh, thread painting. And it's a prompt that I had done without thinking about it. I did it here when we were doing favourite fabrics and, way back when. And it was a piece of Rachel's fabric that I had that I decided to thread paint over the top of. Sorry, I'm trying to get you up a little bit closer so that you can see. And while I did lots of it, I didn't do all of it. I didn't feel that I needed to completely finish every little piece of the picture. Here there's only bits of sort of variegated thread in amongst that flower. Lots in this one, lots in the leaves. Most of these are done with DMC. There's a bit of pearl cotton in the bird. Yep, there's a very fine pearl cotton in that yellow, but then the rest is just DMC, some of which I dyed, some of which I probably purchased. But anyway, I just wanted to go back and share with you that, yes, I had done a little bit, but I decided I wanted to do some flowers to go on here. And I'm a bit short on flower fabric, but I did find this one, but with this dark brown background, meant that I was probably going to need to do some needle turn applique because I don't want that brown background showing. I was interested in Sarah's video when she talked about using a piece of fabric that she was going to stitch first and then applique on, because my quilt is I've already got my top, my batting, my backing. Trying to do needle thread, thread painting was going to be too difficult through all the layers. So this was a great option, but it didn't match. So I thought, all right, I need to just look at how I can change that to make it fit the colourway that I've actually got in my quilt. So with these flowers, I'm just, if I just go back and talk about it, I was tempted to leave the blue leaves, but then went, no, I'm going to not leave the blue leaves. So with the flowers, the very palest colour I chose, this very pale yellow. It's an Appleton wool. The mid-range is a variegated dyed sock wool that I have, which is different weight, but I'm all right with it. So that's the mid pink range. And then the darkest one is this one, which I just think all in all, with my colourway on this quilt, this will work. And so that's this darker burgundy colour that I've got going on in here. And then just as a highlight, I decided to outline it in a fluoro neon, which is, you'll be able to see single thread just to outline the flowers to make the petals stand out. Then for the leaves, I started with this variegated, again, a sock wool. I just let it come out the way it did, which gave me these paler highlights. Then the palest part of the leaf So here, the lightest blue is this colour green. The darkest one is this colour green, and then the veins of the leaf and the outline, I'm using this one, which is almost, it's close to the background colour. I'm not doing fluoro on the leaves. And so what I've done is I've done 2 of the flowers, 2 of the leaves. I've done a little bit of highlighting on this leaf and a little bit, which is just really my, interpretation. Here's a repeat of this. So it had this red in this leaf, and these pale colours in here, a bit of red in there. And so you can see where I've come in that red that's in the flowers. I've used the same colour in the leaf here and here. And now this leaf has got this mauvey colour in it. And I'm going to use this mid-tone here, which is this one, okay? So I just thought I'll come back and, come on and have a chat with you about how I'm working through this. It's going to be just this one. Normally what I have been doing is including my my Christmas table runner, but it takes too long. I'm going to use one of these flowers. It might be that one or these daisy ones. I'm going to do the same thing, and what I've got is some variegated wools. So I'll be using those for my Christmas table runner. I'll be filling in these flowers. You may or may not see, I'm not sure. These are kind of like a daffodil. But I think got another set of those daisies in here. I might have a bit more of this fabric. I don't know which one. Well, this almost looks like, the spiky holly leaves. I'm not sure daffodils are really Christmassy. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. All right. You may or may not see me working on it, but I thought I'll come and show you how I'm working on this one. So already what I've done is I've filled in this pale one. Do you need to come a little bit closer? All right, let's try that. Which was, is it this one? No, this one. This one here, which has got sort of these limey greens. Oh, you're a little bit close now. Gosh, I can't get you in the right spot. Yeah, so it's got some of these limier greens, but the paler colours in here, which is what I've used to fill in the lighter colours. And now I'm going to use this same variegated one. I have it already in a wool needle, and what I'm going to do is add it to this leaf. So as you can see here, there's a whole lot going on. There was a bit of the pale, there's a bit of dark, there's some outlining, there's some pale, a bit more outlining. Yep. And I think that's probably what I would call a painterly effect, which sits, I think, with thread painting. I guess what you could do is think about it as being embroidery, but what I'm with thread painting, it's following what's already there. I think that's the sort of difference. There are really amazing embroidery pieces out there with incredible, you know, stitch colorways. Mostly seems to be satin stitch. Yeah, but with this, I'm just, you know, with the thread painting, it's kind of following along what was already there. Not too much thinking about it, really. I have used a hoop. I've got this one. Didn't show you that, did I? I'll show you it now. So it's got like a spring. All right, a plastic hoop here. The fabric wasn't wide enough. It's just the fabric piece that I had. And so this fits into there. So it's about putting that on top of the fabric and catching it in there. It doesn't catch it probably maybe as taut as, you know, other hoops like this one. But what I can't stand is when the hoop isn't big enough. And I just decided to go with this one. And I just have to, you know, alter it sometimes. I stretch the fabric through. Oh, what I've also done is backed the fabric with some very fine iron-on Vilene to give it a bit of stability as well. So hopefully, all in all, that will all help. Oh yeah, there we go. That's me. It's Saturday early evening. Oh, catching that. Been a day of cooking today. All my family and my kids and my grandchildren are all coming for lunch tomorrow as a family get together, just because. No other reason, just because. Haven't seen each other as a family group for a little while, so just decided to do that. And because they're coming for lunch, I just don't want to be spending the whole day cooking while they're here. So I've pre-cooked things. Been doing that today. Yep. And so we're sort of we've had a little bit of, you know, taste for tea. Yep. It's going to be Saturday evening here. Probably Sunday morning for some of you. Oh no, Saturday morning for some of you, not Sunday, Saturday morning, where it's Saturday evening here. Means I just get in the nick of time. So there's not a lot of difference, you know, between this one and this one. There is a little bit, but it's not gigantic, and I'm just kind of like putting stitches in a random way. I'm not really. Is it focused? It's a bit tricky, isn't it? Don't know whether that's really 100% well focused, but anyway. And I'm just kind of following the way the leaf shape goes. Oh, it's not focused at all now, is it? Is it focused? Oh, there's that better. Gosh, that was weird. That doesn't normally do that. My iPad, I don't know why it did that. And so every now and then what I'm doing is coming up somewhere in between, you know, where there was a previous stitch. But one of the other things that I'm doing as I'm working with this is I'm putting in some of the smaller detail first. And the reason is it just kind of disappears. So see some of these lines, these veins? I don't know. I'm hoping this focus is all right for you. When I'm looking at it, it kind of does a funny thing. So see these brown lines here? Yep. I'm hoping it'll get itself sorted. But I'm quite happy with the colourway, and I'm happy with the greens. I thought that I might have used the kept the blue. I seriously thought about it. I quite like the blue. The blue leaves, I really like them, but decided that I didn't think that it really went with the flowers. Once I got these done, I thought, no, it needs to be green. But there was certainly a moment. All right. I can finish off here. Good. And now I'm going to go, I think it's the paler green. It's not the dark one. But first of all, I'm going to I've got this little bowl of just kind of like orts, you know, because as I need to just change the thread, I haven't got a needle for every thread piece. So this is the you know, the lines, the veins in the leaf. I'm using this colour, and I'm using it also to outline the leaf. Ow. Yow. Oh. Jabbed myself. Oh. Heater's going to come on. Crazy weather we're having. One day hot, second day cold. Just silly, silly, silly. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is go back and find in between where those lines were, because what I found I had to do, I really felt like I needed to put them in before I filled in the final fill-in colour, whatever it was. Yow. That really made my thumb hurt, not just bleed. Yep, so hopefully you can see those vein lines that I'm just following here with this brown. I'm feeling that there's one in here somewhere from memory. Yep, I'll put one in here. I didn't really mean to cover it up. Yep, I think you can see one here. Some of the, you know, the wools are all a different weight, so they kind of some of them cover the lines when I don't really want them to. All right. I'm going to come around here. When I go around the outside edge, I do a split back stitch. just following the black outline of the artwork. And this is a fairly simple one to change the colour of, really, which is the purpose of, what I'm doing here and talking to you about, is that I didn't want it pink and blue. I wanted it to be greens and oranges. So, yep. And then when I get to do the Christmas one, it will also be those Christmas greens and reds. And so, yeah, that will work for the table runner. This is probably not so easy to see, just because it's probably a bit close to the colour that it already is. Is it going to focus it? Gosh, I don't know why. Oh, there. All right, cool. It's weird. It normally just focuses itself, sets the focus, but tonight doesn't want to do that. So what's for lunch tomorrow? Okay, so I've made a meatloaf, and that's a bit of a family favourite. So it's fairly simple, using a minced steak with a little bit of, like there's Worcestershire sauce in it, and there's some tomato paste and some onion cut up very fine. But what you do to start with is line the meatloaf tin. Oh, I've got a ceramic one with the long streaky rashers of bacon, so that you're sort of like, oh, why is that? Why doesn't it want to focus? Oh, how weird is that? I wonder if it's because I'm too close. Let's bring you up a bit. Line the meatloaf container with rashers of bacon. The meatloaf goes in. It's got some, couple of little bits of seasoning and some, an egg and some breadcrumbs. Put it in the meatloaf tin, and then fold the bacon over the top, the rashers of bacon. Cook it for a bit till it sets, then tip it out upside down so that underneath are the folds and over the top, and then baste it with sort of a tomato and tomato sauce, tomato paste, mustard, seeded mustard, a barbecue sauce, and then that just gets basted over the top for a couple of times till the meatloaf is cooked and you've used up the basting. And so that's yummy. Everybody loves it. We'll have it cold tomorrow with some salads. I've slow cooked a leg of lamb. That's sort of like a bit of a French casserole sort of style of slow cooked with in a baking dish with the lid on. So it's got rosemary and oregano from my garden, garlic. Oh, I thought I had a whole head of garlic. It just goes off all of a sudden. And so I rescued a few slithers, wasn't very much. Poke that in. Some some Dutch carrots. A bit of a splash of red wine because I had some, so I used it. And then some stock. Covered it over with the tin foil and a good bit of salt and pepper, obviously. And had the lid on. So while everything else was cooking, it was just, you know, I kept going in and out the oven. Made the meatloaves, I made a caramel slice that all the family likes. That got done. And then I've roasted some pumpkin and chickpeas ready to make a salad. And so that's there all cooling now. And I made a veggie baked potato. I had some sweet potatoes and some normal potatoes and some broccoli. So I made a veggie bake. There's 10 of us. And, you know, we've got a couple of bigger boys now, grandsons, that, you know, like a decent meal as well. And if Paul and I have got some leftovers for during the week, that's just good too. So I'd rather have a little more than I need. So yeah, so I'll make a Caesar salad. All right, so I've done the outline around there. So all I've got to do now is come in and put the green over the top of that. So by doing the outline and the sort of finer detail, I won't lose it. I lose it fairly quickly. So yes, all I'm doing is, like, I've just got this little, you know, bowl for my orts of half used stuff, because I'm using the same colours. You know, it's just then there for me when I need it. So yeah, I'm hoping that will all taste nice by tomorrow. The lamb's finished cooking. It's had about 4 hours, I think, slow cooked. And the other dishes are done. They're cooling. They'll go in the fridge in a minute. Well, summer's in the fridge already. Meatloaf's already in there. Paul and I had a bit of that for tea, and then a bit of the veggie bake with it. Yep, can you see? Cool. So all I'm doing is just sort of kind of like filling it in. It's like I just do random sort of stitches, but kind of go in the direction that, you know, this leaf, you know, the lines would go that way, this way. And so I'm just kind of following it along so that I get that sort of kind of movement shape. Sort of kind of. Gosh, my English words have disappeared. I hope you can see it. Oh, it's always nice when that heater settles, doesn't it? It's rained all day. Hasn't stopped. I might have cleaned the bathroom and changed the towels, and they're going to have to go on the air because no point hanging them out in the rain. They could get another rain rinse, I suppose, but probably not a lot of point. So yeah, the clothes washing, that got put on the air. Cool. And I go sort of like, I miss some spaces. I try and by sort of missing that bit and going up a little bit, what I'm doing is trying to keep the shape, because if I just keep going, I end up losing the shape. I know that sounds weird, but it just means you need to come back and fill in. So hopefully you can see. So then what I've done is I've done a stitch here and a stitch here. Can I bring you in? Do I dare? Got a wobble. All right, let's see. So by doing that, it means that I keep the direction, the way the shape of the leaf goes. Is that a good enough description of what I'm talking about? Because I find that if I just keep going, one stitch beside the other, I can go out of shape fairly quickly. And because not every time is it a full stitch, it's sometimes just a little bit of a stitch there. That was only a half stitch. Is it? I really hope it's focused on. Yeah, okay. So see these little half stitches in here? So where there's some full stitches, then there's some little half ones, which just helps to keep the shape. So I'm going to come back in under here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop and I'm going to go back and have a look at this video and just see what it's doing, because I think sometimes the projection on the screen is a bit delayed and it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's recording. So yeah, so see how I'm missing a spot there? It's because what I want it to do is go up there to that shape, and then I'll just come back and add a stitch in there. It almost makes like a triangular space. Makes sense? Sometimes I just keep going. So I'm coming in between these two stitches and go up there. Again, coming in between. Going up there. All right, before I get any further, I'm gonna stop and have a look at it. Okay, well, it was better than I thought, so that was good. Sometimes when I'm projecting up onto the TV screen, I think it's the internet, just I get a delay, and so you don't always see it quite the way that it, well, I don't see it the way you see it. It's better as a recording, but yep. Cool. All right. It's definitely thread painting. It's a very painterly effect. I'm happy with that. All right, let's have a play with the flower, and I'll just show you how I get along with that. Probably another, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or something. All right, I'm going to flip it around here. Quite happy with those greeny colours. You know, the blue's lovely, but the only other thing that I won't be doing is I won't be doing all these little bits. I'll never be able to do that. I would have to do them, you know, I'd have to, once I cut it out, I would have to do those freehand, and I'm not going to bother. You know, then they're nice, but because I need to needle turn, applique it on, I won't be able to do that around those tiny little weeny bits. So sadly, they won't be part of the story. but that's all right. That's okay. Cool. All right. So what I'm actually going to do first is I'm going to get the darker colour, which is the rusty colour, this one. And I'm going to give myself some lines to follow because it's really, it goes out of shape really quickly. And, you know, having learnt from experience now, I know that I need to do this bit first. So this is technically my darkest colour of my flower, this one. So wherever these dark lines are, so I'm going to do this petal first, this one in here, and it's pretty much all the one colour really, other than these sort of veins in the petal. So again, I'm just using that split back stitch. So that means just going into the first stitch. So I'm not getting that perforated line. And I could do one line, but I'm not going to get any shape to it. So because these are curved, I'm actually doing 2 stitches. So there's one, and then coming back down and going back into there. Just gives me that chance of keeping them. Otherwise they tend to get lost. So the very pale, the white on these I'm using in this palest lemon. That's probably the one I should have done, isn't it? Oh, that's all right, I could go back and do that. And so where there's a black outline, so this black line, that's what I'm doing with the fluoro. Just for something different. Could have used black, chose not to. Alright, there's one more little one in here. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So even though I will eventually outline it with the fluoro, I'm outlining it first with this sort of terracotta colour. And so it's just making a decision when you're changing the colour of something. It's choosing the colours that you want. So it's working out what's your pale colour, what's your middle colour, what's your darkest one, and then if you're going to be doing outlining, you know, you might have more than, you know, the leaves had sort of like almost 3 colourways. This one's got dark, light, and then it had some of that terracotta colour. Well, it was actually the dark red, and I've decided to use that's my colourway. So I'm keeping them to the way I want as a change. So wherever the dark red is, I'm using the terracotta. Hopefully that's clear enough. It's easy to get distracted, but because I've made this decision, and I've kept everything here, like right where I've got it, right where I need it. I'm not putting anything away just yet, and this is a couple of nights' work. I haven't done much during the day. This week it's been a busy couple of days, and yeah, it's only now that I'm really sitting and stitching tonight. Last night it was, maybe there was a bit of stitching in the afternoon. I don't know about you, but when you're going to have visitors, even though it's family, still get the house tidy and make sure that things look nice when people come. Even though it's my kids and my grandkids, still like to do that. So yeah. So there's those things, plus, there was some supermarket shopping that needed to happen. Then there's cooking that needs to happen. So it hasn't been sort of very much stitching in the last couple of days, but I've done a little bit at night, and thread painting isn't a 5-minute job. If you're doing one flower, it might be. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep coming now. I'm going to actually come in and do this petal and show you how I get along with that. All right, so this is where one petal meets another. So we'll just do this one, and then what I do, I'll show you what I do with the thread, because I need to keep going. I don't cut it off. I just leave it out, hanging around. Yeah, so this line was a bit longer than the others. So I'm going to curve it. Oh, stuck on the hoop thing. Good. All right, and now I'm going to come up here. It's a bit of an in and out. I can't really scoop, but I can scoop here. And I've got a bit of, all right. So I need it to come round here, but I don't need it yet. All right, I can see where that's going, so that'll be okay. Do I need to do it? Oh yeah, maybe I will, sorry. Just changed my mind. I was not going to do that, but I am now. Spur of the moment decisions. and you haven't got an instruction to go with, and you've got to make the decisions yourself. All right, so this is the flower that's on top of this one. Sorry, all you can hear is the heater. Not me. All right, now, I won't keep, I'm going to stop here. All right, I'll bring it back up through here because this is going to be my next one, and I'm going to just leave it dangling. All right, it's over here, just over here somewhere. I need for the wool I use a thicker needle. I'm sorry, I don't have the name of the needle, the size of the needle. It's a needle that I like. That's kind of it. I haven't wound this wool off its skein, so I'm just using it as it comes off and being careful with it. If I could find the end, that would be even better, now that I've said that to you. Here it is, it's just here. So yeah, I just haven't wound it off onto anything. It was a new skein. So yeah, so this one, it's not a crewel needle, it's just a needle with a big eye. It's still quite sharp. Oh, not on a thread. Doesn't want a thread. Golly, is that the thread, the one that I used before? Oh, I think it is. And now I'm looking at it to say, is this the one that I had before? Yeah, I think it is. It just doesn't want to play. Doesn't want to play nicely at all. Does not want to do that. All right, I'm going to bring it over here. You're not going to see me now. That was like painful to watch. Of course, as soon as I move away, works okay. Good. All right, I'm probably only going to do one petal for you. All right, so now this is the colorway that's going to be coming in and going in here. I'm not going to, all of these tiny little dots and things, no, they're not going to happen. It's only going to be straight lines. And then I'll just let this have its way, whatever colour comes next really. So I just try and keep the stitches different. I'm not making them go in a straight line, I'm just, then they're not all the same length. I'm going to flip it around because I want to go I want to see what I'm doing when I'm going that way. Harder to manage to hold the hoop though. Come up in here. So what I'm doing really now is just kind of going between those lines that I made with the stain, you know, where the veins of the petal are. Go between. And, you know, Sarah told us it goes through this ugly stage first, and it definitely does. It's like you just think, oh, that's just going to be awful. I can't even imagine that is even going to look any good. And then all of a sudden it changes, and you really just need to be patient with it. It's not a 5-minute job. You can't make it go quicker than it does. And if you've got something that's got a bit of detail in it, and really this flower doesn't have a lot of detail in it, these flowers. There are plenty of flowers with a lot more detail. So if I want to say a word of warning is think about how much stitching you want to do, because with thread painting, it's not a 5-minute job, and depending on how often you're going to be changing colours as to how much detail you're going to put in as to how long it takes. Is there another stitch? Maybe you can go in there. Not that it matters too much, because while I'm definitely changing the colour, that pinky colour as an undercolour is okay. You know, if I was trying to cover, you know, I don't know what other colour I could say. You know, something darker with this colour, then that would be, you know, if I was trying to cover the blue with this colour, that probably would, you know, it might show through in some places where you don't get a, you know, when your stitches don't line up. But again, the blue underlying the green, and the pink underlying this is an okay. It's an okay thing. Okay situation. Probably hard for you to see where I'm actually putting my needle, but you know, it's quite intense stitching really. There we go. But it's not a whole heap. All right, I'm going to bring this up here and I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to get some of the pale yellow now. Just checking I haven't got a bit of it already. Oh, some of it I just have leftovers. Oh, no, stop. This one. One pulls through better than the other. And if it starts to tangle, pick the other one. Pick the other end. All right, let's see if we can get this one threaded without too much nonsense. All right, so I'm just going to leave those there because I'm still working on them. I'm just going to really just show you where I'm going with this. I'm probably not going to show you how to needle turn applique. I think I did that in a previous video when we were doing vintage fabrics. All right, so I'm going to start in the middle and I'm just going to come down somewhere in between those stitches. And then I'm going to go over here and go maybe up to here. I'm going to come right over here because this is where having your stitches go in the direction of the petal is important, because otherwise it's really easy to get your petal going off in the wrong way, the wrong direction. All right, so I've kind of put myself some guiding stitches in, and then I come back and fill in between, because there won't be a full stitch in some places. There might only be like that little half stitch that I was talking about. So I'm just coming up somewhere in between some of the stitches that I've already got so that they blend. It's here that I've been working. So again, I can have a guiding stitch here, I think, another one. And then these little ones on the side here, will go off on a different angle. They'll fit between the guiding ones, and so that keeps the petal going in the right sort of shape and movement. All right, well, I think that's it for I'm pretty sure when I did the bird, I did a video on doing that thread painting as well. See, I've put another guiding stitch in there because what I want it to do is just keep that shape. I might come down in there and then just bury it somewhere in amongst. Sometimes I split that, I split the thread here. I think I can have another guide here. And that means that all of those colours just blend together really. Cool. All right. Right, I'm nearly there. And then I can put the fluoro in Might as well show you that little bit. I don't know how long this is going for. Might be longer than an hour. I don't know. Could be. But it's not a quick process, this one. I think this one will be, I'll be working on this one for a little while. I've still got quite a bit to do around here before it's ready to be attached, and I probably want to do two. I think I'll do another one to go, you know, I was thinking this one might go somewhere down the bottom of my quilt and I might have another one. All right, so there we go. So all those threads just kind of like intermingle with each other. I'm going to do the same thing again. This one can come up over here somewhere. So I'll leave all those threads there, and then can I, there is the, oh, did I lose the needle? Oh, well, that's frustrating. I thought I had a needle threaded with let's try this one. It's little, and it's little because I'm only going to do one thread, single thread of, look at that, silly me. Yeah, trying to thread, thought it had a needle on it. Goodness gracious, need my other glasses on. And I've got a pair on, it's all right. All right, so with this, it actually came, you know, it was a petal that came right down. And this is going to be so what I'm doing is kind of going over that, that terracotta. I'm doing a split back stitch if I can, because it's a single thread. And so I'm just kind of going over the top of that, that terracotta one, that terracotta thread that I already outlined that in. Oh, I don't know whether, I wonder if you can hear that other telly going. There's some thing on. I think it was an ad, just some singing. All right, that's how that fluoro-y neon colour outlines, acts as an outline. Helping it to stand out. You could use black if you want. You could use grey, you could use brown, you could just leave it in that, you know, whatever colour you want it, whatever colour you're using. Pick a dark one, you know, pick something that's quite contrasting, which is what this fluoro is doing. But it's just helping it stand out, and, you know, if you've been watching me for a little while, you'll know, quite like a fluoro. Okie doke. All right, so that's it. I'm going to leave that thread hanging over there too, Good. How to change the colour of your flowers to suit the one that you want. I'm quite happy with that. Very happy with my leaves. I'll keep working on this. The next time you'll see it, it'll be already attached to my quilt. Okie doke. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.